Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today marks my 1 year anniversary of making my very first YouTube video for you guys, and it's been a long journey. I've learned a lot in the past year about prop trading and also about making content. So I wanted to make a video about what I wish I knew before I became a futures prop trader. And this is mostly things I've learned in the past year or so. So I hope this video is helpful to you guys. I would really appreciate if you guys would share, your own experiences in 2023 and what you've learned and what you wish you knew before you started trading. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started now. The first thing I learned in 2023 is you have to pay for it. I remember when I started out, I had this idea that I would buy an eval and pass on the first time because I'm just such a good trader, and that it would be smooth sailing, and I would really just get everything right the first time, and everything would go smoothly. And I really tried to pass every evaluation within the shortest time available. And I almost viewed it as like a badge of honor. And that was like 1-to-1 probably. But then I started taking a much more conservative approach to trading, which is like I'm trading micros and trading really small, maybe a single micro, maybe two. And I realized doing it that way, you'll also come across a lot of there's fees for doing it that way as well. And mainly being that it takes much longer time to pass an eval trading single micros. So, my takeaway really was that there's no such thing as something for nothing. So the two big approaches that I see traders take as futures prop traders is they are very conservative. They have a fear almost of blowing up an account or failing. And they take it, very conservatively. They trade really small micros. But what I see from that as well is that it takes them much longer time to pass an eval, and during that time they're paying evaluation fees, which is it's not free. So there's pros to that. One pro I could think of is that it takes them they kind of pass the evaluation on their own timeline. There's not pressure to pass it in 2 days or 5 days or 7 days. And I think people that do it that way tend to develop better habits over time. And there's also a possibility of saving money because you're not buying resets by the day. The con of that obviously is it takes a longer time to pass an eval, and ultimately, if you fail in a funded account, it'll take you a little while longer to pass another eval to possibly get to another payout. So, it's a trade off, right? The second approach I've seen people take is a much more aggressive approach. And it's an approach where, they trade really big. And I'm talking about so big where they can actually, pass an evaluation in one trade, right? But that requires getting it right the first time. What I see more often than not is people that trade big like that, they tend to fail evaluations. And if you're okay with, failing and paying for a reset and just doing it again in a shorter period of time, that's fine. The pros of doing it that way is you're going to pass the eval stage probably faster if you're willing to buy multiple resets. It will also reduce the amount of time it takes to get a payout, but not the amount of money it takes to get a payout. And there's potential higher profits in that if you're trading big and you are getting it right, you passed your evaluation stage, you continue trading big in a funded account, and you keep getting it right, your payouts are probably going to be larger, right? Because you're trading big and you're getting it right. Now, the cons of doing it this way is you're going to spend more money. I personally think you're going to spend way more money than the first guy, because you're going to spend way more money on evals, resets, and activation fees. There's greater potential for developing bad habits long term, where the focus isn't even on building a skill of being a good trader. It's focus more on just getting lucky, and I don't think that's a great strategy. And also, it's a greater possibility of blowing up a funded account. And with funded accounts, you're not only paying for the reset and the eval, but you're paying for activation fees some of the time, and those fees add up. So if you're just gonna trade big till you get lucky, it's gonna be a lot more money. Passing an eval in 1 month in the soonest time frame with no resets is actually a rarity. You know, like I think a lot of people have this badge of pride of like, oh, I passed my eval in a single day, right? And some guys can do it. I don't think majority of people can do it consistently, so I don't try to do it like that anymore. I think giving yourself the kind of space and time to really, I have like more like a middle of the road approach to both of these. I trade larger than a couple of micros, but I don't trade like multiple e-minis. I try to keep it like at a place I find is reasonable, and I think that's what each trader has to figure out for themselves. I don't think I can give anyone advice on how big they should trade. I think there's just as much risk, or not just as much, but I think there's also risk associated with trading too small, and I think there's risk associated with trading too big. I think each trader has to figure out their own risk tolerance and what they're willing to spend, whether it be in subscriptions or resets or eval fees or activation fees to pass an evaluation. It's up to you. Like, there's no right way or wrong way. It just depends on the person. Like, I know really good traders that are really aggressive in the eval stage, and then maybe they're different in the funded account. And I know other guys that trade micros, like really small micros, two, three, and they still hit their profit targets, and they still get payouts. So you can make money either way. It just, I think one of these is going to cost you a lot more money, maybe in the short term or the long term, depending on how good of a trader you are, versus kind of a slower strategy. So I wish in the beginning I knew that. In the beginning, I just thought all the good traders were just killing it and like passing evals in 5 days or 7 days, and getting payouts immediately, and they were trading big and they were getting it right every time. But really, the longer you're in the space, the more you realize even the great traders blow up. Even great traders fail evals. Even great traders buy resets. So that's my take on that. The second thing is, I think the rules matter a lot. When I first started, I didn't focus a lot on rules. I focused on who had cheap evals, or I focused on just everything but the things I focus on now. And every prop firm has their own rules, and it's important to understand the rules, because if you don't understand them, it could cost you time and money. And I found myself in weird situations in the past year where it was situations where I never thought I'd be in, and I'll end up in it. And it's like, I can give you an example of having a funded account where you're profitable, you're up, and you break a rule, like a trading news rule where you weren't even trading the news, but you had a position open during the time, and you fail an account because of that, or you lose a funded account because of that. And I remember the first time that happened to me, I was really, really angry, because it just felt so silly. Like, I knew it was a rule, or I knew I glanced at some point that it was a rule, but it affected me. Like, I lost an account because of it, and it was frustrating, because it was like, well, that's not fair. Or I've had times where I built an account, I grew my profits to where I can get a payout. But then I found out, oh, well, you made, 32% of your profits or some number like that in a single day. So you have to keep trading in order to get a payout. And I think that felt frustrating, because it was like, I just didn't like it. Or daily loss limits. I've definitely failed a couple daily loss limits. I've definitely hit that loss limit multiple times with different prop firms, or trading outside of permitted times. I think most prop firms are pretty with that rule, the permitted times thing. Some prop firms close trades for you by a certain time. Not all of them do, but it's important to know if you're with a prop firm that will close it out for you, or if you're with one that will let you hold it past the time and fail you. So also payout rules. Payout rules are super important. It's important to know about contract limits, and some prop firms will not allow you to trade bigger than you're supposed to. Some of them they might. I don't know. The ones I trade with, they typically do not allow you to trade bigger than you're supposed to. But not, I'm not sure if all of them do that. And it's important to understand how resets work. Learn about the rules in the eval stage versus the rules in funded accounts. Some prop firms have different rules for evaluations versus funded accounts, whether that's consistency rules or different rules, whether it's intraday drawdown versus end of day drawdown. Just really read the fine print, because that also is a thing. If you build an account, or like you pass an eval trading with end of day, and then you get a funded account, and then you find out, well, the funded account is intraday. That, that's pretty frustrating too, and I've been there as well. Um, and also like learning about situations where you have a profitable account, and then you violated a rule, some kind of rule. Do they let you keep the money in the account, or do you get a percentage of it? All these are important things to understand before you pick a prop firm. So just make sure you really have a good idea of who you're trading with and what the rules are, so you can, one, not break them, and also figure out if the rules make sense for your trading style. So in 2024, I plan on improving. I want to keep making more content, but I also want to have a more open mind to prop firms and just a different offering in the space. When I first started out, I definitely was going for who had the biggest sale, and I think now I pick prop firms based more on things, or rules or policies that align with my strategies and the way I trade, and even my approach to getting payouts. So definitely keep track of the changes that are happening in the industry. And I'm planning on looking beyond discounts and focusing on value. This is something I've been doing, but I want to keep doing it. I want to keep making sure that the prop firms I trade with, um, are aligned with my approach to trading, and um, how I like to trade. And then I want to make sure this year I track expenses better. Prop firm fees add up really quick, because you're not only paying for evals, you're paying for resets, you're paying for activation fees, and I feel like when you're trading with different companies, you lose track of how much you're really paying. So this year, I want to just make a ledger and just document every activation fee, every eval, every um, reset I buy. That way, when it comes to do taxes, or at the end of the year to calculate my profit and loss, it's a much easier time. And I think last year I didn't do much. I didn't do very well with that, where I was just mostly focused on getting into funded accounts and getting to a payout, whereas I didn't really track my expenses that well. This year I want to be a little more like careful and strategic and methodical in my process. So just making sure I'm like keeping really good records for my own knowledge, and even improving and seeing where I'm spending too much money or how I can improve. So um, if you guys like have any plans how you're going to do better in 2024, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And then I'm also going to keep promoting promos and discounts for prop firms that I think are really fair and have good offerings. So one of them, you guys know, is I am a Trade Day affiliate. Trade Day has no daily loss limit, which is a really big update from them that came out like last month, and maybe 2 months ago actually. And they have end of day drawdown on all their accounts. They have the best payout policy in the industry, and with my promo code Honest Prop Trader, you can save on your evaluation with them. I definitely recommend them. They're really good. And I also like Top Step. I like Top Step and how they made a lot of changes last year to their entire prop trading process. Like it's like one step. There's like one rule you can't break. They have end of day drawdown as well. They still have a daily loss limit, and they also changed the way you can get withdrawals from funded account. But generally, I think Top Step and Trade Day are both doing really cool things in terms of innovation, and I like both of them. I trust them. If you guys want to use Trade Day, definitely use my promo code, and I'm working to get a promo code for you guys for Top Step as well. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.